Hey there, sports history fan. This is Arnie Chapman of the Football History Dude podcast, and I'm stopping by this show real quick to tell you about a couple of cool giveaways that we have going on here at the network. Both are autographed books covering various topics of the NFL. The first is The Point After: How One Resilient Kicker Learned There Is More to Life Than the NFL by ex-NFL kicker Sean Conley. It goes over his unique experience as a walk-on kicker at the University of Pitt after never playing high school football. And then it gets into some of his time playing for NFL teams and so much more beyond the gridiron. The other is from author Kevin Bryant. His book is titled Spies on the Sidelines: The High-Stakes World of NFL Espionage. This book started as a curiosity, kind of a passion project to understand everything revolving around, well, Spygate. But this put Kevin down a rabbit hole learning about all sorts of espionage that has occurred throughout the history of the NFL. Both permissible and often the illicit techniques of gathering intel to try to impact the outcome of the game. To sign up for your chance to win an autographed copy of one of these books, all you gotta do is head over to sportshistorynetwork.com/giveaways and sign up. That's sportshistorynetwork.com/giveaways. Again, check out all the other podcasts that we have in the Sports History Network as well. But now, back to your regularly scheduled journey to the sports history timeline.
In this episode of the Football History Rewind, part number 54, we chat about one of the most famous backfields in college football history, the Four Horsemen of Notre Dame, and how they got their name. This story and more is coming up in just a moment.
This is the Pigskin Daily History Dispatch, a podcast that covers the anniversaries of American football events throughout history on a day-to-day basis. Your host, Darren Hayes, is podcasting from America's North Shore to bring you the memories of the gridiron, one day at a time. So as we come out of the tunnel of the Sports History Network, let's take the field and go no huddle through the portal of positive gridiron history with pigskindispatch.com.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
Hello, my football friends. This is Darren Hayes of pigskindispatch.com. Welcome once again to the Pig Pen, your portal to positive football history. And as we look back in that portal today, we're going into Football History Rewind, part number 54, and we're going to look at an introductory to a legendary quartet of backfield mates from the 1924 season. That's right, the Four Horsemen of Notre Dame. While Red Grange was scoring all those touchdowns in Illinois, another group not far away in Indiana was being introduced to the American public. The group was dubbed as a legendary nickname by Notre Dame publicist George Strickler after their performance reminded him of a Rudolph Valentino film, The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Notre Dame's legendary Four Horsemen were not pestilence, famine, destruction, and death, as in the film, but were wreaking havoc on the gridiron under the persons of Strudreyer, Miller, Crowley, and Layden. The group became the most famous backfield probably in history, even to this day. Quarterback Harry Strudreyer, left halfback Jim Crowley, right halfback Don Miller, and fullback Elmer Layden became even more famous when popular newspaper journalist Grantland Rice took Strickler's idea of the backs being compared with the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Notre Dame's 13-7 upset victory over a strong Army team on October 18, 1924 was the time to use the term. Rice penned the most famous football lead of all time as he started his sports article in a very gallant ballad-like prose that people just loved. It still sounds pretty good. In the immortal words of Mr. Grantland Rice, it went something like this. He said, quote, "Outlined against the blue-gray October sky, the Four Horsemen rode again. In dramatic lore, their names are famine, pestilence, destruction, and death. These are only aliases. Their real names are Strudreyer, Miller, Crowley, and Layden. They formed the crest of the South Bend Cyclone, before which another fighting Army team was swept over the precipice at the Polo Grounds this afternoon as 55,000 spectators peered down upon the bewildering panorama spread out upon the green plain below." Unquote. Now, if that's not some fantastic introduction to a sports article, I don't know what is. People just don't write like that anymore. Grantland Rice was truly a master and a wordsmith, and really caught people's attention, because that is true poetry in motion right there. And it's a newspaper article on sports. Unbelievable. Now, Strickler then took that Horsemen thing that Grant Rice really made popular, and he pushed it to new levels when he got the players to pose on horseback and encouraged writers around the country to reference the fellas with the new moniker of the Four Horsemen. Irish coach Knute Rockne used his talented fearsome foursome normally in this way. They would sit the bench at the beginning of the first and third quarters, while bigger, heavier backs would pound the defensive line for a bit of the opposition in order to soften and subdue the opposing interference. After bludgeoning of the thundering Irish thumpers, lightning would strike as fleet-footed, smaller Four Horsemen backs would shred the weary defense with their foot speed and skill and breakaway skills. Rockne also established a strategy of having the backs hit the holes quickly, led by smaller, quicker players providing downfield blocks on a defensive secondary, a new scheme of sorts. Previously the blocking was pointed by having big guys open up holes at the line of scrimmage to get it back through, and it was up to the back by himself to get past the downfield defenders. Another important factor of success for the Notre Dame rushing attack was the famous Notre Dame shift, where the backs went from a T formation, which was pretty standard in that day, to a box formation prior to the snap. The box formation of the Irish made the offense very similar to the single wing. This style kept defenses off balance, as they many times were unsure who was going to receive the snap from center. The four Irish backs complicated matters by handling the ball off to each other and sometimes faking the handoffs. Defenses were off balance, as by the time they reacted to the runner was past them and in the open field. And these four backs all had great skills of running the ball. Now, Knute Rockne was blessed with having the perfect talent for his offensive style of play, from the line to the backs and all the supporting players. That is why the Irish in 1924 will live on in fame and legend. In fact, the team was recognized as the consensus national champions of college football in 1924, receiving retroactive national championship honors from the Berryman QPRS system, Billingsley Report, Bone system, Dickinson system, College Football Research Association, Helms Athletic Foundation, Holgate System, National Championship Foundation, and Polling System, and Jeff Sagarin. Now, the 1925 Rose Bowl was Notre Dame's last bowl appearance all the way through the 1969 season. In that game, it was a battle of legendary backfields, as the Four Horsemen Notre Dame went up against the Ernie Nevers-led sideline and backfield of Stanford. The season, the Fighting Irish played their home games at Cartier Field. And this is where we must leave off in this edition, but don't fret, as there are plenty more entries coming in this series soon. Please watch for part number 55 of the Football History Rewind, coming in a days here, only at pigskindispatch.com, where the preservation of the gridiron is retold with its historic past, and we'll talk about it year by year. We'll be talking about the pro game and maybe some changes that happened at both the college and a professional level in the rules for 1924. And so hope you enjoyed this little bit of history. Hope you'll be staying tuned for more as we bring it to you almost every single day of the year. And definitely have an article or two posting on pigskindispatch.com where you can learn more about it. And we've got thousands upon thousands of great posts and podcasts that you can listen to or read between Pigskin Dispatch and the Pigskin Dispatch podcast. Also find my friends over at the Sports History Network, where there are even more great podcasts on sports history, not only of the gridiron, but other sports as well. And I think you'll find something for everybody there. It's all family friendly. SportsHistoryNetwork.com. Till tomorrow, everybody, have a great gridiron day. That's all the football history we have today, folks. Join us back tomorrow for more of your football history. We invite you to check out our website, pigskindispatch.com, not only to see the daily football history, but to experience positive football with our many articles on the good people of the game, as well as our own football comic strip, Cleat Marks Comics. Pigskindispatch.com is also on social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget the Pigskin Dispatch YouTube channel to get all of your positive football news and history. Special thanks to the talents of Mike and Gene Monroe, as well as Jason Neff, for letting us use their music during our podcast.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
was just another ordinary day in the offices of the Pittsburgh Guardian newspaper circa 1924. But for Marla Delft, assistant editor, everything was about to change. For she was about to discover the awesome attractiveness of Row 1 brand retro sports paraphernalia items thanks to Orville Mulligan, sports writer.
And there it is.
Wow, Orville, that's really the bee's knees.
Isn't it just? A poster-sized replica of the actual 1909 World Series program cover.
I can see that. But where did you get it? And where'd you get it framed?
I ordered it from the Row 1 website, where over 6,000 items of sports memorabilia from the 1880s to the 1990s are available for reproduction, in multiple sizes and in several different materials, with over a dozen styles of frame to choose from for prints like this.
Well, I'm sure Mr. Delft would love to put up more of these in the office. But I'm equally as sure they're beyond this newspaper's budget.
Not at all, my dear Marla. See for yourself. Go to sportshistorynetwork.com/row1.
sportshistorynetwork.com/row1. Oh my, these are good prices. Oh, and look at this stuff. Oklahoma-Nebraska football, college basketball art, Michael Jordan items.
And so
retro
it was that
sports
Marla Delft
advertisement
discovered the
flyers.
splendiferous magic of Row 1 sports memorabilia, arts, and prints. You can too by visiting sportshistorynetwork.com/row1. That's ROW1 today for access to the full Row 1 catalog of gallery prints and gifts like t-shirts, long-sleeve shirts, telephone cases, coffee mugs, blankets, pillows, towels, and even shower curtains. Act today for 15% discount off all prints with coupon code SHN15 and 20% off all other items with coupon code SHN20 at checkout. And keep your dial locked to the Sports History Network for the exciting chronicles of the 1920 sports world in Orville Mulligan, sports writer. Coming soon.